All right, welcome everybody to another installment. No opinions are stupid. We took last week's, and here it is. Me and Jason. We took last week off because Jason had to do some personal situations.
The world is stopping us from this podcast.
I got nothing going on. So you know how that is. Lots of big news last week. Lots of big news today. We can start with the news for today first. It looks like Mario Cuomo is a dick. Oh my God! Like if you didn't know that already, just to make sure, dick. And I think at this point he's 100% dick, not like 50 or 60%. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, the Attorney General of New York State has completed their investigation of Mario Cuomo's sexual harassment stuff, and has realized that maybe he was a little bit of a sexual harasser. After all, it's not just him being Italian and kissing people.
Well, that's what he sent out that video. You saw that video that he sent out. Pretty much what he said in the video. It's like, I touch everybody and I kiss everybody.
I kiss and touch everybody. It's just because I'm Italian, I love to kiss people. I call everybody Bella. I call dogs Bella, small children Bella, everybody. And he was like talking about how it's a cultural thing. Don't touch people, bro.
You're not buying it. Yeah, something tells me you're not buying it. Something tells me you're not buying it.
By feeling them up. Don't touch people, bro. Don't touch people. You know what I'm saying? Just don't touch them. I myself don't understand it. I think it's kind of ridiculous that we even have to have this discussion with anyone nowadays. It's just dumb. So, that's where we're at. And he said that he doesn't want we should just have the courts figure it out. No, I mean, come on, man. I don't know what to even say. I don't know what to say.
When is this term over officially? Is it October of this year?
October of next year?
Next year. So it looks like he's trying to hold on. It doesn't help when the president of the United States is saying, "Hey, it's time. Let's go. Let's move on."
Oh, did Biden say that?
Yeah, apparently he said today. He was like, based on the evidence, it's time to move on. It's time to.
Well, I mean, he's Biden's point is they made it so it's impossible for anyone to not take this stuff seriously. So he's not wrong. I don't think Cuomo's just going to walk away from that shit because that's how he is. You know how he is.
Well, he's a lawyer, so as a lawyer, he's going to find every kind of way to defend himself.
But here's the thing, and I'm not defending Mario Cuomo in the least. Not in the least. You had a guy for 4 years that basically raped women and was president of the United States and had every Republican on his back. Not that I think we should approve that we should okay that at all. Not that I say we should be okay with that at all or be okay with Mario Cuomo doing this, but it's kind of like at this point it's like he said, she said, even if it's considered, that thing. And I believe every woman that said that, hey man, I felt harassed, I felt uncomfortable, I felt that he didn't need to do that. Every single woman that says has a right to feel that way, and it's absolutely wrong for Cuomo to act like it's no big deal. But he's gonna lawyer it out. You know what I mean? He's gonna politics it out. Right. We'll see what happens. Speaking of women and violence against women and harassment, Kevin McCarthy this week said he was gonna beat the hell out of Pelosi when he gets the gavel in next year. I don't know about that. I don't know if the Republicans are going to win any more seats. Honestly, I think it might be a toss-up. Really, in the House of Representatives. But McCarthy acting like he's going to hit people with a fucking mallet. Is he out of his mind? He's out of his mind.
This guy.
It's like Trump could do anything, so I can do anything too. It's like, stop.
Right.
Trump couldn't do anything. He just said shit. What's wrong with you?
and the Republican Party just didn't do anything to, put him in line in that sense. So he felt like he was emboldened to do whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, Trump got his ass handed to him last week. Three big things happened that I remember off the top of my head. The first one being that he lost that special election, whose person in the background he was like pushing. the Trumper
right.
that he lost it. And it's like, well, it's a special election. People would only come vote down the line if Trump's there. Blah blah. I'm like,
right.
If I'm a Trump converter, if I'm all about Trump and Trump tells me to vote for that person, I'm going to get out of my armchair and get in my little motorized scooter and head to the voting booth to vote. Especially if I'm not vaccinated, because I'm not afraid of the Delta variant. I want it to kill me. I'm looking for it to kill me because my life has been long enough, and death would be a sweet release. But
the question with that is how much of a turnout was there? Was there a high turnout? Because from what I'm reading, there was not a high turnout.
It wasn't a high turnout. But I don't think it matters, because even if it wasn't a high turnout, why wouldn't Trump win handedly?
Right.
Oh, you know why? Because people don't really care that much about him anymore. That's why.
Well, the thing is, yes, but then when it comes to special elections, a lot of people don't even know they're around. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's one of those kind of like, you have to wait big picture wise, because small picture, yes, it looks like it was a defeat to him. But if people don't know there was a special election, or when it was, or when the date was, let's assume, how many people really voted to really get a gauge on that. You know what I'm saying?
I think your point is right. It's well taken. I think a lot of people said that as well. But I also think that if you're a Trumper and this is your religion,
right, and
you live in that part of Texas, wouldn't you mobilize the troops? Like he was telling people, hey, blah, 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 and and his mealy mouth way. Wouldn't you mobilize the troops to get people out there to vote for him? Because he doesn't want to look bad. The number one thing about Trump is, if he looks bad, it makes him. He knows that it looks bad, and whatever. Like, oh, you heard the Brady story at all?
Tom Brady?
The Tom Brady Trump story from last week?
When he met Biden at the White House?
Biden at the thing.
Yes,
and then made jokes about Trump. And, Tom Brady, who we always thought was like was in Trump's pocket, apparently not. And that's funny, because he was like, I played golf with him a couple times. This guy wants to be he wants to marry me or some shit. Because when Trump likes some people, like narcissists like people, they want them to like them so much that they're up their ass. Right. They're like, hey, how about I buy you a drink? How about I watch your dog for you? Would you like me to watch your dog? I'll watch your dog.
Plus, he looks at Brady as a winner. I'm trying to say, which he is. He's won the most Super Bowls. He just won with Tampa Bay. So if you're a guy like Trump that seems to like the limelight and affection, of course you're going to hang out with a guy like Tom Brady, or want to hang out with a guy like Tom Brady that's going to give you that, limelight, even if it's not you, because you're in his presence, you still get it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I hear that. And that's the thing. Brady acted like Trump was he made jokes at Trump's expense.
Right.
So that's the thing. That's like one of the things.
Was there a comeback? I didn't hear a Trump comeback at all. Like even in his presidential press release.
Because that would have been him putting whatchamacallit. He can't say Brady's a loser, because people are gonna be like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to call Biden old. It's another thing to call Brady a loser. And if you call Tom Brady a loser, what's Tom Brady gonna do? Yeah, let me go look at my Super Bowl rings.
Right. right.
You can't. So he can't say shit. And that's the thing that probably pissed him off the most. If it was anybody else, plus the guy's white. If it was anybody else, if it was Michael Jordan saying something about Trump, Trump would be like, hey, what you done lately?
Right.
But he also, if you notice, Trump stays away from sports figures. Right?
Right.
Stays away from them. Unless he's trying to do something, like Tiger Woods giving the Medal of Valor, whatever the fuck.
right. Presidential
fuck out of here. Like shit like that, where he I love this man, he's a man, that, that kind of thing. But he's not. By the way, my Trump impersonation is getting worse and worse. It's sounding to become like bugs, like the sound of bugs at night. Not even words. But that's the thing I'm saying. Like it's like this ongoing thing where he doesn't want to, because he knows that. Hey people, I'm not trying to diss anyone who's into sports ball. Okay? Baseball, I have a lot of love for the sports ball people. But you're dumb. A lot of you are real dumb. No offense. No offense, stupids, but you're dumb, but you are. So he knows that if he goes after sports ball legends, you guys will be like, why do you say that about my favorite guy? That's a problem. Especially if it's a Yankee or someone who's or a Bulls guy like Michael Jordan. He better not say shit about Michael Jordan. He knows better. He knows better. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's like that kind of situation. He tries not to be a thing about sports people, keeps it down. Unless they're black, and then he'll say whatever the fuck he wants about them. And, especially if they're black and they're women, woo! Open field.
Speaking of that, what do you think of the whole Biles situation?
I was just about to say that. Speaking of black women,
it goes right into it.
She was on the bar today. She won or yesterday, and she won a bronze medal.
Bronze, right?
Which makes you think, wow, right?
Right.
Her at hey, I don't know if I can do this. Gets her a bronze.
Right. Right.
And I think I said something about this yesterday at Facebook last week, and I was like, people who don't know how to who don't know the sport, talking about people who know the sport and where they are mentally in their mental situation and capacity are full of shit to even say anything. A Republican saying shit about Simone Biles is doing it because she's a black person, and that's all. This woman has been, she's a gymnast that was fucking basically raped by her doctor for years. She was molested by her doctor for years, and the U.S. Olympics team said shit about it. They said nothing about it until this guy went to jail. And
crazy.
Like,
it's crazy.
Fuck you! You knew who this guy was. You did nothing for years. Not just her. All the gymnasts that were under his purview were molested by this guy. So that's one, right? Two, she does shit that's so fucking advanced that the Olympic judges are like, yeah, we have to give you some demerits just to make it even for everybody else. Like, fuck you.
Right. Then Nemi moves after her.
Two. She does moves that are so far advanced that they have to take points away from her because they can't give her an 11. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you said.
Three, if I'm saying to myself, if I'm a fucking race car driver and I'm like, hey, if I don't feel good mentally to get in this car, I'm going to die. Well, same thing with her. If you read the story, she said that she had a thing called the spinnies, where she was jumping in the air, spinning around, and realizing, I don't know where I am.
Right.
In this particular situation. So maybe not the best time to compute. So, come on, man. And the best thing about this is all the pushback these assholes have gotten. So as soon as someone says something in the media about how something negative, they get tons of pushback. The sliver of their audience that's still getting it, right? The sliver of their 60-year-old and up audience that watches these guys or reads it to not that 60-year-old know what Twitter is, are beginning to fucking fall on their faces with this. They're beginning to look worse and worse. It's like not like there's no. You can't take them seriously. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's like
they're looking to push buttons. Like, that's the thing. And
but they're looking to push buttons for who? Buttons. For me?
Right.
You're an asshole. Like, here's the thing one of the things I love about New York is this, right? You're in New York, and you're walking down the street, and this guy cuts you off or whatever, and you're like, what the fuck? And you keep going. Not like you're saying to him, hey, buddy, blah, blah, blah. No, you're like, hey, what the fuck? And you keep going. You know why? Because that's all you can do. What else are you going to get into a fist fight with this guy? No, he's an asshole. He has to be an asshole for the rest of his life. Let him go be an asshole and beat his wife. Or whoever he's beating at the time. But it's not, not that it's a good thing. I'm just telling you, people who do that shit, like bump into you or cut you off, are people that need mental health.
Right.
They're sad in their own little bubbles. Same thing for Trumpers. Same thing for Republicans at this point, or conservatives. If you're that upset about Simone Biles, who has absolutely no connection to your daily life, not playing in the Olympics, buddy.
Right. That's the thing. This woman has won so many medals throughout her career. She has nothing
to 7 gold medals.
Nothing to prove to anybody. That's the thing that kills me. So if you come after her, like, why would I stoop to your level? Like, I'm at the top of my game whether I compete or not. You know what I'm saying? Who are you if you've never been on a balance beam, for example, to tell me that the twisties aren't a real thing? I've had vertigo in the past, and that stuff is scary, right? You just don't know where you are. Exactly. So imagine flipping in the air and for that split second not knowing where you're gonna land. It's a scary feeling when you're
flipping. Not only if you're up or down, you're flipping in the air. She just realized where she was. It's a little hot in here, so I'm gonna. Excuse me, folks.
He's getting all excited. Just the heat is getting to him finally. He's been waiting for these rants for 2 weeks and he can't control himself anymore. The heat's just getting to him.
Sorry about that. Back to the Batcave. Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you know, exactly what you said. How can we? I don't know.
Right.
I don't even. I've just heard about twisties last
Now,
week.
let's take it away from that. Let's say let's just play devil's advocate, right? Let's say she didn't have the twisties. Let's just say she was mentally fatigued, right? Which happens to everybody in any job. You just need a day. Let's just say, right? The argument I've heard is that she's letting the team down and she's letting people down because it's a team sport and, you know, other people weren't ready to step up and stuff. So that argument, let's take that argument for a second. What if she was injured and somebody had to step up? Like, you know, there's alternates and there's other people on the team for a reason, right? So let's say it was a mental day. Look at it as if she hurt her ankle, she couldn't compete. Somebody has to step up. So for everything that she's given, if she needed one day where she's like, guys, I can't do this, the least that the team, I feel, can do is be like, we got you. Don't worry about it. You got us here. You got us, you know, 40 gold medals and medals in the last 4 or 5 years. You know, we'll try to, you know, do what we can to get to that level. So the idea, you know, sports is a team. So if the person can't make it for whatever reason, somebody steps up. That's just the way it is in any sport. You know what I'm trying to say? So the idea of like she's letting people down, yeah, I get it, but I mean that's a little blown out of overblown.
Who's she letting down though?
I mean, they're saying that like it's a team thing.
Teammates.
So if she wasn't capable of doing it, let's say it wasn't the twisties, if she wasn't able to do it, she should have not gone to the Olympics and let somebody else go who was fully prepared and ready to go. It's what is one of the arguments.
Right. You know what the biggest thing in the Olympics is? The biggest thing that the Olympics has going for it, the American Olympics, money.
Right.
Money. We got a lot of fucking money in it, and that's why we do so well. Right. You know, and I. We're doing fine for COVID Olympics. We're doing fine. It's okay.
Right.
You know, we'll be okay. We'll be okay, conservatives. We'll American exceptionalism will be fine. American exceptionalism will still be there for you to tout on Tuesday. When you know.
Well, there was an article that I read about talking about like forget about just looking at it through an economic standpoint. Like economics have broken down like the U.S. compared to these small countries, and have actually hit the target of how many medals the U.S. would win compared to like, you know, these baby countries that basically just come in for like one, you know, let's say for track, and how they never win. It's because and they looked at it and they were like, hey, when you look at the money the U.S. gets, when you look at the facilities they get, when you look at the type of equipment they get, like some of these runners are running, you know, they're the best in the world, but they have sneakers that they've used for the last 4 years. When you compare it to like, you know, you get Nikes every like, you know, every other day if you need a new one. You know what I'm trying to say? So they were like comparing and saying, is it exceptionalism or is it that we just far and above when it comes to, you know, money, equipment, standards that these guys can't, you know, equate to?
Well, yeah. When we talk about America, the ongoing lie, and I know, okay, I use it. We use American exceptionalism just now, and that is a big thing, right? Right. So the discussion point is: are Americans special, or does money make us special? Are we the dude that can just excel, or are we Batman? You know what I mean? Because Batman has the money. So the Batman, like, oh, I need a way to get from point A to point B. Let me make an armored rocket ship. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah, I know. Right.
So that's been the question. It's been the question for a while. Have Americans been great before that? I mean, yeah, but we weren't fucking crazy about the people who did it. It's like, look who won the gold medal for us in the 1938 Olympics. You know. A black guy. Were we excited about that? Not really. I mean, you know, we could do the press about it all we want, but that guy, it's like this. I watched the John Leguizamo Land History for Morons thing this weekend.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it.
No. I saw the like the Freakonomics, the early ones that he did, but I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah. It's not called Freakonomics.
Whatever. What the ones that he did on Broadway with Spike Lee.
Oh boy. John Leguizamo.
Actually, we went to see it on Broadway. The first one we went to see it on Broadway was me and our cousins. We actually went and saw it.
Mamba, what is it? Mamba Mouth?
First, yeah, I believe that's the one. It was so long ago now. It's been like
I saw
years
one or two of them as well. So let's see. One man shows.
Underrated, by the way.
Broadway
Like
and
at
theaters.
very underrated. Has had a lot. Has done a lot in his career. Just hasn't had that like starring role, a leading role, but he's done a lot of bit parts. Is always doing something.
Yeah. Mama Mouth was the first one in 1991.
Yeah.
John Leguizamo. And then he did Freak.
90. That the Freak. That's the one I saw. I saw the Freak.
And then he did Sexaholics, a love story.
Sexaholic. Those are the two that
I
I
might have
saw.
seen Freak.
Yeah, I saw the first. I saw those the
He
last.
did Downtown. Whatever he did Downtown. Pimps, Homes, Player Haters, and all the rest of my Hollywood friends. Oh,
Freaks. That's the one. That's the one I call Freak, and I was Freaks. But those are the two that I saw.
Okay, and that one I never seen. Donald that warms up in Chicago.
He was in Spawn, wasn't he? In Spawn?
Yes, he was the
clown.
The clown in Spawn.
Yeah,
and he talks about that in Freaks.
Yes, he does.
He won a lot of awards.
That's what I'm saying. He
Ghetto Clown,
had a good career.
Clown,
right.
The documentary, that's 2013. And Land History for Morons was from 2017. So he hasn't done a one in a while.
Yeah.
Kiss My Aztec. Something he did in 2008. It was a thing that he did in 2008. So he's done a few things. But yeah, he's also in the John Wick movies. So
yes, that's what I'm saying. He's kind of one of those guys that
much respect. You know, Mr.
He's always in a movie, or he's always pops up, even if it's a bit role.
He's been in 100 movies.
Right.
No, seriously, he's been in 100
I know.
movies.
I'm surprised it wasn't more. I mean, yeah, he's always doing something.
Yeah. And he's right to, because like he was like tired of doing pimps and hoes, man. He's like, you know,
right.
He's an interesting dude. But back to the American exceptionalism thing. I was reading, and he was like basically asking. He was saying that, you know, minorities have to work twice as hard to get half as far. And we could say like, you know, whatever. But it does kind of like, you know, when you're putting people in a vat or in a box and you're shaking, it has hold about them. You shake the box out, and only the certain amount of people come out that are very good. Then yeah, you're gonna say meritocracy, you know, this other shit. But it's not that at all. It's more like I played baseball with a tree branch and like I was saying, Puerto Dominicans. I played baseball with a tree branch and a can. Wow. You know, that's right. You give them the right equipment, things change dramatically for that guy. Right. You know, same thing about shoes. You were talking about shoes. You give the person with talent the right equipment, things change dramatically. So maybe we aren't talking about American exceptionalism. Maybe we're talking about a strainer that causes things to be specific to, you know, situations. I don't know.
Now, what about the argument that says, compared to most of the industrialized countries out there, we work the longest and the hardest. We have the less days off, so we're producing more and doing more. So because of that, that would equal or give value to, you know, being special in that sense.
We also have higher suicide rates, and we also burn out.
Oh, I agree. Right? No, I agree. There's a pro and con to it. Oh, I agree.
Let's work our workers to death and let the rich people walk away with the money. I'm not super excited about that. So, you know, as a contractor, I'm always looking for work, unfortunately.
Right.
Which made somebody say to me this week, I was like, wow, you're really stressed. You're always looking for work. I'm like, I'm not stressed. I'm like, you're always looking for work. Of course you're stressed. And they made that point, and I was like, I guess so. But the ongoing thing is this. Americans don't need to work that hard.
Right. No, right.
The reason what makes America great to me is the fact that we brain drain the rest of the world.
Right. I know what you're saying. Right. There's some truth to that. We take people, hey, you want to work for us? We'll pay you more. You'll work longer hours, but we'll pay you more. And they're like, hey, I get to live in America, buy a house for $500,000 if I'm lucky, right, and give my family a way to, you know, get ahead. And to also send lots of money back home. Because at the end of the day, what we don't realize as Americans is that Americans people who work in Americas and immigrants give more money back to the rest of the world
than the people than the GDP of those places they're sending the money to.
Right.
You know, like Honduras. Come on. I mean, I'm not saying to diss Honduras or.
I know what you're saying. But that's what's always killed me with
Dominican Republic or Haiti or any of those places. But that money goes back to those places, and it kind of helps. It helps those economies.
That's what killed me with the whole immigration backlash. Is one of the reasons why we become great. We're taking the smartest people in other countries and say, come here and help us with, technology, help us with the economics, help us with, whatever what your specialty is, and they come here because of that fact, and they help us elevate, to another level. Yeah, we could consider ourselves the smartest country in the world if you want to look at it that way, right? But if we're grabbing the smartest people from the other countries, that just elevates us because those countries don't prosper as much because they're here. You know what I'm trying to say?
So we're draining those human resources, so to speak, from those countries.
Human capital. If you want to go the economics route.
And if you want to talk about how so that's what American exceptionalism is about. Now we could say that white people would be like, no, it's because we're blah. And I'm saying white, and I mean the white ruling class and politicians. I'm not talking about every white guy because white.
Right. I got you.
So the great thing about the American educational system, right, is you don't have to rely on the American educational system to teach you stuff because we have libraries all over this country, and the libraries are full of books. And you can go to a library and take a book out on economics and read about economics yourself, or you can, or even better, research it on YouTube. I'm kidding, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's right.
Dog. But that's the kind of thing I'm saying. The reason there's a lot of free information out there. The internet wants information to be free. We have libraries. We have libraries in every city. Yeah. Which makes sense. I don't I don't know if that's in the rest of the world, but definitely in the United States.
By the way, the library down the block from your house on 51st Street is officially gone. They're building a building there, a condo complex. I went by it the other day. I was like, oh, this was like the library back in the day. It has it?
Yeah. That was my favorite fucking place when I was.
Oh, I know. It was right on a couple blocks away. You could just disappear in that place. For
my father would come and have to get me.
Right.
You gotta go to home and eat. Oh, I do. I'm reading Mad Magazine. I have a sci-fi book next to me. I'm reading Mad Magazine, and my father shows up in front of my uncle.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. They weren't coming after him like in the playground after dark or whatever. He's reading library book, which is great. It's great.
It's just I read a lot. I don't read so much now, but I read a lot then. And I read everything, man. I would read newspapers. I go to the library just to read newspapers. I go and read the fucking Daily News, and then go get Harper's Bazaar and read that. Get Mad Magazine next.
The youngins are like newspapers. What's that?
Yeah, newspapers.
The Daily.
Yeah. Back in the day. So yeah.
Have you found yourself saying that? By the way, now that you're, you have two kids of your own and you're older now, that you find yourself.
You say back in the day? I say back in the day to be sarcastic and stupid, not to be anything other than that.
But we're getting to that point now where the millennials will laugh at us when you say certain things. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I put this thing once on my Instagram where I had the missus bought me the first iPod, the one with the rotator kind of dial. And my kid, I put it on Instagram a few months ago because my kid was like, Dad, what is that? And I explained to her, this MP3, you can listen to music. And she literally was like, Dad, how old are you? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, and hit her because
that was 10 years ago, kid.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But compared to how far we've come in those 10 years when it comes to music,
right?
And
This is I just got a new phone. Yeah, that's it. Black Mirror, motherfucker. That's it. Right. Look at you. It's you.
Oh, it's Black Mirror. That's a great show on Netflix. Right, it's reflective. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's shiny.
Yeah,
like the old.
It's an iPhone 12 Max. So
Well, think about how far you come from that iPhone to that first MP3.
From the first, from remember when you had a BlackBerry and you're like, this is the greatest invention of all time.
Right, I know.
And you're like, I don't know how that iPhone's gonna work because the BlackBerry is the greatest invention of all time. And then you know your BlackBerry gets you get an iPhone because your BlackBerry's like breaks or whatever, and you can't get another BlackBerry for some reason.
Because they're not selling it anymore.
And you get it, and you're like, oh my god, what happened? Life has changed for me forever.
Right.
You mean you can put all your music on it, and you don't have to put it on the phone?
And you take pictures?
And take pictures? Pictures. Yeah. When the camera was introduced to the iPhone, I think it was iPhone 3. I think everyone lost their shit. The first the camera, the front, the back facing was, maybe I was like, Samsung's coming out with a camera on their phone. Like, oh, well, nice. That's cool. And then it was like, Samsung's coming with a camera on the front of the phone. That's when iPhone would just come out with a camera in the back. Like, iPhone's just lagging. Like, but then it's like the best camera ever.
Right.
I know. Listen, Samsung guys who are out there who like their Galaxies. I don't care. I'm not having that. I don't care.
Right.
Enjoy your Samsung phone, but you can do. I don't care. Android. I don't care.
I don't think they realize the reason why Apple doesn't do it is because they don't want to do it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, they don't care. We can do it. Can we do it?
Yeah. They can.
Do you want to do it? No.
All it takes is an enter button, and they can do it. They just don't want to do it
when we're ready. Right. That's the thing. It's like when we're ready. Oh, and the thing is that remember when the tablets started coming down, like the bigger phones and a tablet, and iPhone, and then they were like, oh yeah, we made a big iPhone as a tablet. You can, I don't know if you guys want to use it, whatever. And people were like, haha, big iPhone. Name someone who doesn't have one now.
Right, I know.
Name someone whose their tablet has replaced their laptop.
Right, that's true. I use my phone more than I do my computer. No, 10 times over. You're right.
Well, your phone's in your pocket. Your computer, you have to flip it open.
Yeah.
Then type in a password, and then I look at my phone, it opens up for me. It knows me.
Right.
Like, oh, it's you. Okay.
Exactly. It's become part of you. It's become part of you, right?
Yeah. Hey, my son, when I got this phone last week, and it's some contrived bullshit that I have to do through Verizon to get it because Max's phone broke, and I'm like, I'll give you my phone, we'll get this new phone, I'll get a new phone, I'll pay for the new phone, you'll get the old phone, give me $100 for the blah, blah, blah. And he was like, fine. So his phone's no good, and I started the process of converting my phone to this phone, but the thing is they were still treating it as his number, so they fucking jacked his phone, and he couldn't use it, and I had to spend all of Thursday running around with various calls with Verizon to fix it, and then he came over, and then I'd spend the rest of this Thursday night setting him up so he can have his phone so he can go home. So technology does not come without where you have to pay, right? But it's at least whatever. Okay, so I have a list. I made a list. Okay,
the list. He has a list, folks.
Made a list. We're going to talk about T-shirts first. As you can see, I'm wearing the classic New York City T-shirt.
That's old school. That's like 1970s stuff right there.
But this? Yeah.
Yeah, that's old school.
John Lennon, the wife beater, used to wear it.
Yes.
I'm not wearing it because John Lennon wore it, because I do not approve of his methods. When you find out shit about the people you fucking think are cool, and then you're like, John Lennon beat his wife? Both of them?
But he was a Beatle. That's the...
Yeah, he was a Beat-O. Like beat-team.
Yesterday.
He used to be, yesterday. And then you get shot in front of his house, you're like, imagine you not beating your wife. Hey man, I didn't make it up. I'm not trying to sully the name of John Lennon. He made great songs, whatever. As a Beatle. I don't know so much about Alone, but maybe, I don't know. He did say women are the N-word of the world, and then he beat one.
Lennon.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I know.
See someone, dude. Talk it out.
People are crazy.
Figure that shit out.
Go talk to Paul. Have a drink. Just relax.
Have a drink. Calm down. Damn. Jesus. So, I'm getting you a T-shirt.
Is this true?
Yes, it is.
What T-shirt is it?
The moth T-shirt.
I gotta wear it for the next when it comes the next show. I gotta definitely.
Well, I need your address for that, but we'll figure it out. But the thing is that I went to. There's a couple different places. So like I any T-shirt that you think of, someone's already made one.
Of course.
So if you put it in your Google box, you might get a thing. So like there is, I don't know if you know Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft. We talked about it a little bit. He's a writer. Writes stuff about cosmic horror. He is the basis of a lot of cosmic horror that we see today. Crazy.
Is that his real name, by the way? H.P. Lovecraft. Is that his real name?
Lovecraft. Howard.
Is that his real name?
Lovecraft.
Is that his real name, or is that like?
Yeah, it's his real name.
Some publisher was like, you gotta spice this up with what you do. Lovecraft, that's it.
Howard Phillips Lovecraft.
Really interesting. He didn't even have to change his name; like it just flows.
No. He is an American writer of weird science fantasy and horror fiction. Lovecraft is best known for creation a body of work that came to know as the Cthulhu mythos. Born in Providence, Rhode Island, Lovecraft was most of his life in Europe. So he created something called the Miskatonic, the town of Miskatonic, which what it is, and everything that he has, all this stuff that revolves around it. And if Miskatonic, the town of Miskatonic has Miskatonic University, that's in there. So strange things happen there. But if you look it up in your Google box, Miskatonic University T-shirts,
right,
which is a lot of fun, orange and green, man, they're colors, which makes sense because scary monster colors. At least I think so. Maybe red and white. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But so I put that in my Google box. And I found a whole lot of shirts. I'm like, yeah, sure, it's me. So I just thought about you, and
you're a T-shirt guy. Now that I think about it, you every time I've seen you, or we've hung out, you wear a lot of T-shirts. I've never really seen you with a button down, for example.
I wear shirts. Okay. If I go out like out, and it's not like for me, if I'm with people, I wear shirts.
Well, of course, but like if you go and just like hanging out, like you're like, hey, let's go to the movies tomorrow. You're not wearing like a button down or like a polo. You wear like a T-shirt.
My phone told me it was the anniversary, by the way, of you, me, and my brother hanging out in 2019
in the park, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right, in the Prospect Park. That was a good day. Yeah.
I think it was 2019.
Was it? Yeah, it might have been. It might have been because Alec. Yeah, that was the day. Like you left. You had to go to the city, and then David's kids was like, I want to go to Coney Island, and he was looking at me trying to tell me not to go, and I'm like, no, you know what? Let's go to Coney Island. We jumped on the Q train and went all the way to Coney Island.
You didn't want to go?
He just like tired. I think they were flying out the next day.
Yeah, you know what? F him.
Let's go.
Here's why. You show up out of nowhere. He's like, I didn't see mom. You know that story, right?
Yeah,
you know the story. Yeah. He shows up at the house. I was living with my mother at the time. He shows up at the house and everybody's sleeping, like in various places. And I'm like, what's going on? And he was like, yeah, I'm just here for a little while, and then I'm gonna fly back out and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh okay. So good that he took his kids to Coney Island. They got ice cream and shit.
They had a murder burger, one of those White Castle burgers. It was like a White Castle truck, and I was like, Dave, don't give your kid that. Like they're not ready for that. Like they're just not. And they were like, no, it's good. And then like let's just say that night, like David didn't leave till like 2:00 in the morning from my place because the kid just needed to release stuff. And I was like, hey,
was that your house?
No, he came to our house. He had to pick something up, and that's when the murder burger hit. And I was like, I told you so. You don't do that.
The murder burger.
You don't do that to the poor kid. You set the kid up. It's not In and Out, if you know what I mean.
Oh, it's in. Oh, it definitely is In and Out. It's not that kind of thing.
Because they're like steamed, like they're not like they're like broiled. I mean, like they're just thrown in like water to broil them, and then they just eat it.
We talked about Cuomo. We talked about the T-shirts. We talked about some politics.
T-shirts.
You want to talk about COVID?
What about it? What's your feel of the Delta variant and affecting the South as the way it is?
Fuck them.
Look, Mitch McConnell is doing spots apparently.
Because he's a dope. Here's what I don't fucking understand, right? McConnell and McCarthy, especially McCarthy, what an asshole. McCarthy came out last week and was like, Pelosi was like, everybody's got to wear a mask, fuck you. And they're like, I'm not wearing a mask. Good, $500. Like, whoa, how dare you? Fuck you, $500. You're not wearing a mask? $500. And they were like, oh, you can't make me do it. Me, I'm a baby. And it was like $500. You want to come in? You want to do your job? You get paid. Wear a mask for $500. And I'm 100% for that. Tax them, because that's the only thing, the way they learn. And McConnell was like, McConnell's like, I don't understand why these people. Because motherfucker, you have a whole fucking team of assholes saying the exact opposite behind your back. And you're okay with it, because if I were you, I would have been like, listen, you son of a bitch, fucking tell your people to fucking start wearing their masks. And it started happening 2 weeks ago. Remember we said
yeah.
Out saying shit about getting masks on or whatever. But too late for fucking Florida, because DeSantis was making money off of telling people not to Fauci me. Remember that shit?
T-shirts,
T-shirts. T-shirts and mugs to make money that don't Fauci me. I'm like, so now they're going, their emergency room stuff is going back up, and every single person who's getting on a respirator, guess what? Ain't vaccinated. So as far as I'm concerned, let's empty them out. If they're not going to fucking pay attention, and they're not going to go out of their way to do something, I mean, it sounds like, oh, you're not being very compassionate to these people.
Well, two things to that. I read an article, I think it was in the Atlantic, I think this weekend, that said like the numbers have steadily started to go up with people in the South getting vaccinated. I think, realities. I think a lot of people kind of waiting. Let's be honest in this sense, right? This is a whole new kind of science, a whole new kind of vaccine. The people that might have been on the edge might have been waiting to see, the outcome. And now that the Delta variant is hitting, I think some of those people are kind of saying, wait a minute, like I can't play around with this. So let's see if that's the case. Number one.
I can't even begin to fucking talk to you about this. As I understand what you're saying.
Right.
This is the Delta variant is a very different. Vaccines are different, and I might turn into a horse. It doesn't change your fucking DNA, you idiot. I don't understand how people think that. That's not how it works. Or it changes DNA.
It magnetizes you.
What the fuck are you talking about?
It magnetizes you. You can make it into.
You magnetize. They put a chip in you. Stupid. You stupid idiot. First of all,
Facebook said it. Facebook said it.
Put your phone down, you dummy, because they get more information from you and your stupid Facebooking than they do anything else. I don't.
I have a friend who they actually moved to Florida because she became a doctor.
Yes.
Goes to Florida, and I was
horse
texting
doctor
back and forth with them. No, I was in Central Florida. She's in Central Florida, and we texting back and forth, and she literally said that now it's kind of the way the hospitals are so bad. It's kind of the way New York was when the pandemic first hit. So for people on the East Coast who know like how crazy it got that first, month or two when the, when stuff was going crazy and hospitals were filling up, Central Florida, she's saying in that hospital is getting, just as bad as that. And now, mind you, New York, because of so many people that we have in the city, we have a lot of different hospitals in a short, span. When you're in a place like South Florida, there's not that many different hospitals. You only have a couple of choices. So if they're filling up fast, that means, there's not many places to go. So it becomes even tougher in that sense, But
again, I want to be nice about it and say,
right.
Fair things, and tell people that I care about them, but we've tried that already, and they were all like, "Fuck you! I'm not getting vaccinated." Well, fuck you! You're dying. Oh, give me the vaccine! Don't put me on the respirator. Vaccinate me now. Too late, asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like,
now what do you say? What do you say to the people that say, "Look, people getting vaccinated, and they're getting sick too"? What do you say to that? Because I have, what is that? Right? No, it's true. Once again, this wasn't supposed to be 100%. You see, this is the thing. It was 80 to 90%. That means you have a 10% chance of getting sick in some capacity.
Moderna.
I don't understand what the thing is.
Moderna and the Johnson and the whatchamacallit, the Pfizer vaccine were up to 95%. Right. This variant, and this was the other one. The new variant is the Delta variant is really virulent. Yeah. So the chances of you getting it. Look, I think I might have had it already.
Right.
I think I might have had a very, very mild version of it because of the viral load I got. You go to a place, you go to a party, and you have 3 people in the same family that have it, and you talk to all of them, and and they don't know they have it, and they start coming up with symptoms after the fact, and you get tested, you find out you have it. Depends on the viral load, you might be okay.
Right.
If it was an outside party, But I'm wearing a mask to every store. Like I told you last week, I'm wearing a mask to 2 weeks ago. I'm wearing a mask to
on
every
the subway,
store.
right?
You know, everyone I know I hang out with has been vaccinated. I'm not fucking around. But in New York, and I was in New York. I was in the city this weekend, and by the way, I'm gonna public service. Hold on one second. I'll be right back.
I like how you disappear and reappear into this background that you have.
So, public service. Okay, I have a mask with me. So, here is a mask, right? You wear this because you don't want COVID. Okay, put the mask over your face.
I know where you go with this.
Right? Okay, you're wearing your mask now. This is how you wear the mask. Not like this. You know what you're doing there with this? Your nose out. You're saying to yourself, "Oh, I'm stopping the virus from getting in my mouth." No, you're still breathing air and you're still exhaling through your fucking nose. You dumbass! Put the mask over your nose. Over your nose.
I thought you were getting a frying pan and an egg and doing the old. This is drugs. This is your brain.
Might as well. The thing I don't get is it's like you know. And I do this, and I'm like, I even said it to people. You're supposed to wear the mask over your nose. You know that? And they're like, I'm doing it right. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not. And then they're like, oh, I got COVID. Yeah, stupid, because you didn't fucking wear the mask right. I just don't have patience anymore. I just don't.
Right.
So people who are, and the thing is that these people are the same people that are like, I don't want people to have any money from my taxes. Well, guess what? You are costing us lots of fucking money because you're stupid as fuck and you didn't get vaccinated. So instead, all those resources you keep complaining about people taking, it's you. You're taking them now.
So what about that theory that I've heard? Let's say if you haven't gotten vaccinated by now, let's say there's a date. Let's say by the end of this year, let's just say that they would put a tax if you come into the hospital and you actually get COVID.
Good.
You kind of get charged more. I've
Good.
heard this.
Good.
You agree with it?
Good. I think we should start penalizing people who don't want to get vaccinated. I think New York City says, hey, you want to eat inside? What, did you get vaccinated? Oh, you can't? You're on the street, buddy.
Right.
They're doing that for that in gyms. Good. You know why? Because I don't want to get your fucking stupid illness because you're an idiot.
Right. Well,
I don't want to get it.
Biden started inching towards all federal employees and maybe the military eventually getting it.
He's also giving people $100 to get vaccinated. If you haven't gotten vaccinated, redneck, now's your chance. Go get your $100 to buy your meth with and get vaccinated.
So Biden's offering $100. So
yeah, there was an
if
article.
You're in New York City. Can you get $200? Because the city's offering $100 plus the federal money and the $200. Is that how it works?
Where? I think I'll get vaccinated again. Hey, I'll get vaccinated. Have you been vaccinated? Not yet, sir.
Back in college,
I had PlayStation games.
Exactly. Two Maddens if you wanted. I had a friend back in college who used to be one of these test rats. Basically, he would disappear and go to like upstate and come back like all like
with bat
hair
wings
gone, like comes with hair gone and like his one eyebrow missing and like he would like blotchy face. I'm like, what happened to you? It was like, oh, I go to this place and I get tested, and he was like one of the test dummies, and he would get like $10,000 a weekend. He would go for like a weekend because he would get like $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the symptoms that you would get.
Yeah,
and then he might be out for a week or two.
That says you won't sue them if you die.
Exactly, but he would do it, and he would go every couple months and just get $5,000-$10,000 every couple months. He would do it.
Maybe I'll do it too. So Lindsey Graham has COVID, and they think he got it from being at Manson's boat thing, where a party on his boat, where everybody was yeah. So maybe he's got. Well, I was vaccinated and I got it. Could you imagine the people who weren't vaccinated on Manchin's boat last weekend? I can only imagine. God damn that dummy.
So Lindsey Graham did say, to give him a little credit, he did say that if he didn't get the vaccine, he would have been much more, he would have been sicker and much more dire straits. So he gives credit to the virus for keeping his symptoms just low flu symptoms, basically.
Considering how low vermin it is, you think that that viruses and vermin would shake hands. Considering rats carry all kinds of botulism and shit. That's right, Lindsey Graham's a rat. I said that. I kind of feel like, people would be saying that I'm there's a lot of vitriol coming out of me for this kind of stuff, but I don't like stupidity. For example. We live in the New York City environs.
Tri-state area.
So New Yorkers, like, we don't suffer fools, and when we do suffer them, it's at our peril.
Right.
So like I said, everyone in the city is wearing a mask. Like, no joke. Like, no joke. Back in like the summer, last summer, when I went to the city, or last fall when I went to the city just to go,
right,
a couple times, people were still kind of like fucking around, not wearing masks, blah blah blah. That is not the case today.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's because, some like 5% of the city got fucking sick and went to the hospital, and we saw it happen, and we were like, yo. 30,000 people last year were in the hospital at one point or another because of COVID in New York City. That's a large amount of people.
Right.
Something like 1% of those people died. So 3,000 people died or more than that. I don't know how many people actually died from COVID over the course of the year. But I'm talking about March.
Right.
It was no joke.
But I think part of it, too, to add to that, I think part of it is that these businesses want to come back in September. Like, they're basically saying, all right, we got the summer, you want to come back. If you're not vaccinated, then you have to wear a mask or be tested regularly. And then they're kind of saying, without saying it, like I forgot what financial company said it, but it was something that I saw in the news where they basically were like, we expect everybody in by September, and we want them fully vaccinated. They didn't say we're requiring it, but the kind of implication was like, if you don't, you might have to find a new line of work. That was kind of like the implication.
I'm not working anybody that isn't mandatorily making everyone's. As a corporation, first of all, I'm not working anywhere full time. I'm working from home at least 2 days a week. Why? Because people are stupid. One. Yep. Two, as a corporation, it has to be mandatory, or I'm not working there. Like, you can't work here unless you've got my vaccination in my car. Want me to get vaxxed again? I'll go right now.
Right.
I'll get 2 boosters. Fuck it. So that's one. Two, this like mishy-mashy, it's okay if you're not that's gotta go. Because, dude, it's stopping us from living our lives.
Yeah.
We can't go to the movies because the stupid won't get vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? For grandma and her 8 kids can't get vaccinated. Come on. We already have the vector of children, right? Children get it, and sometimes they get real sick, and sometimes they just pass it on to their parents and grandparents.
Right. Well, that's the thing that kills me. Like, having, and because having kids yourself and myself with children, like, do you know all the vaccines shots I have to give the kids just to go to school? Like, it's not like I have a choice. If my kid wants to go to school, like, they get like 15 shots before they go into public schools in any capacity. So this idea of like, well, you're treading on my freedom for this is like, we've been doing this for 50, 60 years now. It was part of the norm until 2 years ago. So I don't understand. There was always anti-vaxxers, but this idea of like just not understanding how vaccines work. When your kid gets a vaccine, like say polio, they always tell you there's a risk of you getting headaches. There's a risk of you, getting sick. Like, it's part of the risk. Like, it's part of all vaccines. Your body is fighting something in you. So of course you're going to get sick. So this idea of like, well, I don't want to take it because people get sick. These type of conversations don't make sense to me because that's how all vaccines work, right? Am I wrong about this?
You're not wrong. Well, it's like people saying, autism. It's like, that's not how autism works, stupid. I read an article, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Shut up.
Right.
You're not a scientist and you're an idiot. In New York State, in 2000, what year is this? In New York City in 2020, 33,000 people died of COVID. 978,000 cases, 33.5 thousand people died of COVID. Well, I think this is actually most recent. In New York State, 53.2K people died of COVID. and the cases were 2.5 million people.
Right.
Now, that's in New York State. That was hit pretty hard.
Right.
That's fucking phenomenal numbers. That's sad. That means that you know someone who knows someone. If you don't know them directly, know someone who died of COVID.
Right. Yeah, no.
And knowing our family, yeah, we know someone who we know. I know 2 people who've died of COVID.
Yeah, right. I know a couple too. Yeah.
Not in our family directly, in our collective
vicinity of people we know. Right. That being said, I read today that Wuhan, China's now getting a little bit of an outbreak. It's been declared that they were COVID free for a good 8 months now, and I think this week a couple cases have started to pop up, and they're basically shutting down Wuhan and saying everyone has to get tested immediately, basically. So there's going to be a mass testing procedure going through the next couple weeks over there.
The Chinese know what the fuck they're doing. You know why? Because they make you do it. There's no freedom fry fucking bullshit. Hey, you get tested today.
Freedom fries. Remember that?
You're gonna have people coming to your door and testing you? Yeah, we are.
Remember that? Remember the freedom fries argument back in the day?
About that. Yes, sir. That's what. And don't get me wrong. I understand. Blah blah blah. But that should be coming from an internal realization of what we need to do as a society, not for anything being forced down our throat. The fact that we have these babies thinking they didn't want to do me, it's like, come on, man. Fucking A. All your leaders that you keep saying and telling you what to do. Donald Trump got vaccinated. DeSantis has been vaccinated. You don't think DeSantis has been vaccinated? You got to be out of your mind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to be out of your mind.
I'll add this to. I was listening to David Frum. You know David Frum, the
yeah, that asshole.
Yeah. But I was listening to him, and he was doing he was on a podcast, and he was calling from Canada, right? He was calling from Canada because he's Canadian.
Okay.
And they were talking about how coronavirus is affecting Canada compared to the US and how slow the Canadian response has been to vaccinations, right?
Yeah.
So the host basically turned around and said, well, is it because of Instagram and Facebook? And he was like, no, it's just we just haven't had the infrastructure to do it as fast, as quickly as the way the US has. But now that we're kind of gaining up, they're surpassing the US in injections because people are actually doing it. So he goes, I get tired of hearing people complain about Facebook and Instagram and all these things, because we have Facebook and Instagram in Canada too. We're just not listening to it. We're just not paying attention to it as much as people in the US. So we have to stop blaming these social media companies and see that it's an internal thing more than, that basically at this point.
Well, the thing is, the culture is different in Canada, right? All right. So we can talk. America is social media fucking crazy.
Yeah.
In a way that is completely out of bounds for anywhere else in the world.
Right. And we can say that about movie stars and stuff. We just take things and we go to this level that's just unhealthy in many respects. You know what I'm saying?
100% absolutely. And everybody wants to be famous here.
Yeah.
Because that's all they fucking know. Right? Celebrity is an actual commodity in this country. Celebrity is the product. You want to be the product, right? So Instagram, influencers and shit like this show. I just do this for fun.
We do it because we want to give to the people.
Yeah, I want to give back to you. You've given me so much. I want to give back to you. And Instagram stuff and whatever. But the at the end of the day, we really believe we want to be the things that we see, we covet, we envy. We want to be those things. We don't want to be ourselves. We want to be something greater, or what we consider greater. And reading that stupid post on Facebook that tells you that COVID isn't real makes you feel like you're important.
Right.
Because Americans are dumb. They're dumb, man. We have dumb people who don't understand how anything works. And you remember that commercial? Like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. That old lady was talking about Facebook and stuff. I think that's people, man. That's how fucking people are. And I hate to say it and make it sound like, it's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah.
But I don't know how else to I don't know what else to do. People are dumb. They're just dumb, and they want to be something greater. I was in the park this weekend. I was walking through the park, and you know what I saw? I saw people with camera setups.
I know what you're saying with
shows. I'm gonna do some workout shit for my Instagram. I'm gonna do my TikTok thing. I'm blah blah blah. Fine, great, terrific. You're not gonna be a fucking star. There was a whole thing on Instagram, on TikTok, about how there were TikTok dancers that were getting their moves stolen by better known TikTok people, and they weren't getting the thing for it. And then they were like, "What the fuck, TikTok?" And TikTok was like, "We're not a legal entity here. We don't give a fuck.
Right.
We're a content provider. You can put your shit up. It gets stolen. It's on you. Fuck you. I don't care.
It's on you. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't care.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy.
Oh, let's see what our stats are. What are our stats? Oh, we got some.
See what the Nielsen ratings. Nielsen ratings have for us.
Our Nielsen ratings. Oh my God!
How many people in a certain circumference radius is actually watching the show?
That's around here, of this area.
So if 10 people are watching, that equates to 100,000 people. That's the way we gotta fudge the numbers.
In the area around us. I lost you. There you go.
Explosion.
Yeah, actually, not bad. So we had on the 2 weeks ago, our July 21st show, we got 14 views, no likes or comments. We got 14 views. Our July 13th show, which I think is a superior show, actually, got 7 views. People, when I tell you something's good, you should check it out. I'm telling you, the July 13th show is funny. The June, I'm sorry, July 12th. The June 27th show, 10 views. No one wants to see us and Justin Gray again ever. So only 4 views to that show. That was a good show.
That was a funny show.
Yeah.
And the reason you have to explain why you're reading this. We're reading this to let people know we're laughing at ourselves here. This to us, this is just we're hanging out on a Tuesday, Monday, whenever we do this, and just having fun. We're not the Instagram cravers who are like, we got to get certain views. We find this hilarious. So
yeah, we do this. I listen to this later on and crack myself up the whole time. Like,
true.
I'm like, man, I'm a little mean to those people in Florida. I'm gonna say I would watch that and be like, oh, maybe I should take it easy. Then I realize, fuck them. So our biggest show so far, with 31 views, which is like crazy, is our March 17th show. I don't know what we did on March 17th. It has 1 like, so people are going crazy.
March Madness? Maybe we
broke down. And
Arizona State going against, Utah State. Maybe we broke that day.
And number 2 is the May 4th Justin Gray show, which got 21 views. It's not bad. I'm happy with these numbers.
And this is we're not advertising. We're not doing anything to like push this.
I posted on my Facebook. You don't even do that.
Yeah,
I let people know it's
on Facebook and Instagram for so long.
It's like, hey, new show, whatever. Who cares? You did.
It's just
okay. Nothing. No TV last week. You watch any TV? Because I got 2 things to talk about.
What are the 2 things? I haven't seen anything recently. I haven't seen, to be fair, Ted Lasso because I don't like that they're doing 1 episode, like a week. So I'm trying to grab them in bunches because I don't want to wait. Basically, I just find that Netflix started this, 10 years ago. Whenever it kind of started, where they started, binge watching. And why am I going back to 1982 TV where I'm going to wait once a week for something? I mean, come on, this is. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this isn't Hill Street Blues where I gotta wait every Thursday to watch it. Like, come on, throw the stuff out there and let me see it.
Hill Street Blues. ER for that matter. I hear you. You're being a little bit of it. You're being a little. You're a little.
I'm being an ass.
I've been watching Ted Lasso. I've been fucking watching it. It's great. Do you watch the last season?
I'm waiting till I get a bunch because I don't want to wait once every week until they decide to put it out.
This week will be 3 episodes.
Yeah, maybe now's the time to do it. Maybe.
Not saying I'm going to spoil anything. Show's great.
I'm sure it is.
Roy Kent's the best, and that's all I have to say about that.
Ted Lasso and Coach Bird were on the
Beard.
Today Show a couple Beard.
Ted Lasso and Coach Beard were on the Today Show.
Yeah, they were on the Today Show, promoting the show. And it was
I gotta
funny
check that out. Hold on.
Because his coach from high school, because I guess he played basketball, Jason,
that guy, that giant freak.
Yeah, he played basketball, and his coach, they tracked down his coach. They tracked down his coach in high school, and he was saying how proud he is, and how proud he was for the success and everything, and he basically threw him on the bus by saying, for a guy who never played defense in basketball, I never thought you would amount to much, but you actually done a lot of good stuff in your lifetime. It was really funny to say. It's funny to the coach who kind of gave him a little dig. It was actually pretty funny. It was like a 3-4 minute interview.
There it is. Who's this person? Meredith Vieira? No. Who's your host on the Today Show?
Hoda Kotb.
Hoda is the host now?
He's one of the hosts, yeah.
Is it today the afternoon the late Today Show, like later on today?
She's getting bumped up to the 7 a.m. slot.
Oh, there it is, Coach. There it is. Sudeikis and Beard.
Yeah.
Pretty cute. All right. Oh, they're so good. They're so cute together. Wow. Okay, I have to watch this thing.
Yeah. It's like 3-4 minutes. It's funny.
This is them talking about how awesome they are and they're funny. Yeah, they're great. And I'm watching a show called The Deuce.
The Deuce.
Have you heard about this show called The Deuce?
No. Wasn't it a movie back in the day?
The Deuce is a show on HBO that came out in 2016 about 42nd Street in the 70s. Hookers, the mob, porn, and how it kind of grows into that. It's very interesting.
What made New York, basically.
If you grew up in New York in the years I grew up in New York,
yeah,
it looks just like it. It looks just like that dirty area. New York in the 70s was gross, nasty and gross. If you guys watched Joker, it's pretty close to that. They shot most of the Joker, the movie The Joker, in the Bronx to be, Gotham City, but it was like New York in the 70s. Taxi Driver, you see Taxi Driver?
Yeah.
And this show looks just like fucking New York in 1977. In 1970, it starts in 71. Then it leaps a couple of years into 77. Gross and nasty. But the show is really interesting. Maggie Gyllenhaal is one of the leads. Definitely worth it.
Oh no! I haven't seen it, but I know Maggie Hidden.
It's not for the kids.
Pushing it. Yeah, she was pushing it.
Lots of sex and women getting beat up. So weird, but good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So The Deuce, watch that. Starting season 3.
So it's following like a prostitute. Is that what it's doing? Like it's following her.
It's following a woman who's a sex worker. We call them sex workers now, sir.
That's true.
Who's a sex worker, and how she goes from being a sex worker to being a pornographic star to being a director of pornographic movies.
Gotcha.
And the process is incredibly interesting. But it's not just about her. There are other people involved.
Right.
And those are the people involved. A guy who went from a bartender to a bar owner to a owner of what basically is the Loft. It's a disco.
Gotcha.
In New York. So it's that kind
of Studio 54 type.
Well, before Studio 54, they were before Studio 54, there was a lot of little places all over the city that you could go dancing in that weren't controlled by the city. Like they have a liquor license and whatever, but there wasn't really, they weren't. New York City is very careful about how they do clubs now.
Right. Right. So there was a time when things used to pop up and. Yeah. I mean, we know from 3rd Avenue. Like 3rd Avenue right now, you have Industry City and Sunset Park, and people are like, "Oh, this is such a fancy, nice little place."
Dens.
There was some crazy stuff going around.
Foxy Dens was the best
in the 80s and 90s.
How you gonna do the? You're just gonna have a space here. How are you gonna do? Yeah, we're gonna use chains and then just throw a bar from the top, and then we're gonna put sandbags to hold the chain down, to hold it down.
Right, exactly.
Okay. And what are you gonna use for a desk? We got a whole lot of middle school desks. We're just gonna put them together.
Oh, it's a lot true to that.
Okay, sounds good. What about the bar? Everything's in milk cartons and
coolers. We just get a couple coolers, right?
Right, and we're just gonna have a couple of desks from the same school, and that's the bar. Oh, all right. Cool.
Sounds like fun, actually.
Good premise.
Good premise for the bar. That's a great premise for a bar. Let's get.
But that's what it did. It's not like I'm making it up. I saw a woman set on a man's face to pick up $1. And I was amazed. This is amazing. What skill?
Exactly.
I also saw another woman smoking a vagina.
That's like an Andrew Dice Clay joke you started off right
there. But it's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
This is
not a lie. This is actually what happened. I'm not making it up. I was watching it. I'm a journalist, and I was watching it happen.
Exactly.
News directly to you.
You're a documentarian. He was just.
I was documenting. But if I had a film camera back in those days, they would have beaten me up and shot me in the back. And not in the back. They would have shot me in the front, but in the back of whatever.
Because it would have been a big camera back then. That's the problem. It's like,
you know what's really funny? You know what's really funny? That's Industry City. That is actually Industry City. That right there, the front. I think it's the front. The front of the Japanese store. That was it. I think.
Village? Yeah, you're right. That's true.
Oh man. Okay, so two more things before we close this up. I saw a movie, and I don't know if you've seen it, called Kramer versus Kramer. Have you seen Kramer versus Kramer?
The one in the 70s, that one?
Yeah.
Back in the day, back in the day, right.
Yeah. Dustin Hoffman, Meryl Streep. No?
Yes, back in I saw it back in the day. Haven't seen
it back in the day. When you were like 10? How old were you when you saw the movie?
No, I think when I was in college, it was one of those films you have to watch when you
you have to watch it
or whatever.
Let's watch it. And then you have to come back and talk about it. You're like, I don't know.
Yeah. It was like that. It was like that movie, Citizen Kane, and like Goodfellas were like the three.
You had to watch that as part of your film thing?
Yes.
I would have been so mad. So I mean, it's important. It is an important movie, but I'll tell you why. Because it's fucked up why I thought that. I was watching it. I was like, hey, you know, I have never seen it. Let's watch it. So I put it on. I put it on 2 weeks ago, and I fell asleep, and I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
So basically, Dustin Hoffman is at the height of his powers as a fucking ad guy. And he gets this big account. He wins this big account as a creative director or whatever, VP of creative. And he shows up at home, and he's like, hey, guess what? I'm a VP. You're leaving me. What's going on? And his wife just leaves him. Played by Meryl Streep, who basically just grabs a bunch of stuff, stuffs it in her bag, and walks the fuck out crying like, I can't do this anymore. And you're like, what happened? So Dustin Hoffman basically, he raises his child. Like, I'm sorry to keep saying basically. He raises his child, who's an asshole. This kid's an asshole. And at one point, his boss is like, listen, maybe you should send your kid away. Send him to to live with his grandparents for a little bit or whatever. He's like, I'm not going to do that. It's my kid. And the guy's like, because that's what white folks did back then, is get rid of their kids. When shit went wrong, they got rid of their kids. But Dustin Hoffman doesn't want to get rid of their kid. So, long story short, 18 months, he loses his job because of his kid. Right. His wife shows up 18 months later and is like, I want my kid. He's like, where you been? Fuck you.
Right.
He doesn't want to give up custody. And then, there's a whole custody battle, and it's sad. And Meryl Streep spends the whole movie crying. Crying because the best thing about it, you drop a hat, she's crying. She's crying like she just lost a loved one. Like red eyes, blowing, like nose drip, fucked up. And you're like, wow, no wonder she's fucking. This is Meryl Streep, folks. And I won't tell you the end because if you haven't seen it. But the thing about this movie that's really fucking amazing is the fact that it's a boomer movie. Boomers are in this movie, right?
Yes.
It deconstructs the idea of the American family, nuclear family, in a way that's probably never been shown before, because this is the meltdown of the nuclear family, and it isn't melting down because dad wants to find himself. Mom runs out and leaves dad with the kid, and then he has to decide what to do. So if you think about it, really, it's a very feminist film because it's teaching men how to be, caregivers in a way that's never thought about. And I'm not. What also made me realize there's something very specific about this movie, right? That would never happen with Latinos.
What do you mean? Because
Latinos.
Of course, the movie would never happen with Latinos back in 1979. That's besides the point.
And even now. if a Latino man got up and left the thing and be like, whatever, he did it. We were expecting it. If a Latino woman got up and left, she would have taken her kids with her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it would have been like, and my children.
Right. There's some truth to that. Right. Right.
I'm leaving my kid with my kid. You know?
Right.
Because there was this, like, there's a whole identity thing that she says during the movie. It's like, I was a mother, a daughter, and a wife. I would never knew who I was. Latino women, that is part of the identity. The mother, the daughter, the wife is part of the identity. That's who they are. There could also be a lawyer in there. They could also be an artist and all these other things. But that identity does not get washed away or get turned into something else. For some reason, in the American idealism of being a white person, and that's, again, not trying to shit on white people, I'm just saying culturally there's a very big difference. There is this feeling of these people being somehow your gender supplants your identity, and it's very possible. I'm not a white lady. I'm a Latino man who went through his own shit, and that was very different. It wasn't about gender and how it was supplanted. It was more about, it was about gender and how it was supplanted, but not that way. Because I never felt that it was all I was a dad. I felt that I was this, and I was this, and I was this, but I wanted to be more than this. And and maybe that's what she was trying to do, but it didn't seem that way. It seemed like I wanted to shed that skin and become this new thing, but I also want my kid. I just find it really interesting and strange. And I if you haven't seen it, you should check it out.
But let's take that to another step, right? Because 1970, it came out in 78, 79. Something like that. Okay, 1979. So at that point, there's a lot of changes going on in this country. I mean, a lot of changes. Like, women are really starting to hit the workforce. You have a lot of shows now that are showing women in different lights when it comes to Mary Tyler Moore type of shows. Like, those type of shows are really kind of changing the landscape, right? Right. TV is not what it was now. Like, TV, yes, you had your fluff, but you had a lot of shows that were really kind of tweaking the, like, what was America, what was the fabric of our society, and what was good and what was bad about it. Even if it was like All in the Family, which is a comedic kind of spin on it. You know what I'm trying to say? So I can see how all that would change a certain perception. You know what I'm trying to say? So I could see how if you're, in 1979 and you're a female or a male at that point, where you're kind of like confused now because things are being turned on side of its head. I don't think in our families we had that. There was always a structure. Even if that structure didn't work, there was always a structure. The man did this and the female did this. You know what I'm trying to say? And you can be, like you said, the lawyer if you were the female, but we kind of were always grounded in this is part of who we are. But that identity was being changed in so many different levels in the late 70s and the 80s that if she wanted to get up in that movie and say, I don't know who I was, it made sense. You know what I'm trying to say? Because the nuclear family in the 50s was supposed to be, what America was supposed to be. And now you have the work. You couldn't just be a work at home. You couldn't just stay at home as a mom because now things were more expensive. Jobs weren't paying as well anymore. We're starting to see the decline in that. Right. So I could see how everything's hitting the fan at that point. You know what I'm trying to say? We, as our culture and our parents, even if our parents wanted to do more, it was kind of like, I'm doing this and that because I have to, because we had to do it because that's the only way we're going to survive. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. They never, in 1970s America, they never had to deal with that until stuff started until it hit them in the face. You know what I'm trying to say? America's a very young country in many respects. So there was a lot of growing pains. And with everything going on in the 50s and 60s, all the changes when it comes to civil rights and everything, and now we have the family dynamic changing. Like, people were totally confused. You know what I'm trying to say? That confusion didn't hit us. Maybe it will at one point, but it hadn't hit us at that point. You know what I'm trying to say?
I think that the boomers are also called the me generation, right? So they grew up in the late 60s, early 70s, and these people they're supposed to be in their 30s when they have their kids and whatever, and it just kind of puts this like look, this like thing on these individuals and how they walk through life and what they do. So yes to everything you said, and also what the fuck. I mean, again, if it was a Latina woman, she would have taken her kid with her.
It's kind of like what you said, though, right? In America, we have used entertainment as, we put it greater than ourselves in many respects. So in 1978, TV is huge, and everybody is starting to become a huge factor in our lives. That wasn't a factor in the Dominican Republic, in our parents' lives, or Puerto Rico. It was something that was there. But the family and hanging out with families and doing stuff with family, that was still a big thing. TV, at least when I go to the Dominican Republic still, or visit the Caribbean, it's not a big thing to just sit in front of a TV and just hang out for 8 hours a day. You know what I'm trying to
say? No, they put it on when they watch their story, and then they go drinking, or they go this, or they do that. The thing is,
we don't look at it as life. We look at it as something we do for a couple hours and move on. While in the 70s, you're looking at movies and TV as life. You know what I'm trying to say? So that life is changing. How do you respond to that? You know,
I don't disagree with you. I think that I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, media does play a role, and I think it's important. And I think that you're right. Stories started to accumulate about the ability to be something other than just a woman,
right,
or just a mother. And you could say the same thing about men, and you could start saying, "Well, I've done this enough. I'm going to do it." The other thing I notice is, when Latinos get divorced, when the kids are grown.
There's some truth to that.
Right, there's some truth to that. They just get up and fucking, they just get up and leave. I don't know what's going on. They get up
one of my favorite movies in the 80s, to piggyback off that, is like Mr. Mom. Remember Mr. Mom back in like 83 or something? He used to be on Channel 11 all the time.
He lost his job, and he ends up taking care of his
staying
family.
At home with the kids, and he becomes like, all the moms love him, and they come to his house, and but it's like it shows you the dynamic. Like, think about Kramer versus Kramer, and then Mr. Mom comes out like 4 years later. Like, now you're really changing things on its head.
Mr. Mom.
I want to say like 82 or something.
1983. Huh.
83, yeah.
Interesting.
Because that's when he was on his roll when he had like
Baby Boom. 1987. All right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So there's a
lot. And then if you want to get crazy, then TV wise, you got those shows like 30 something that came on in the late 80s. Remember that show, which was a horrible show to me. But like it was horrible. I mean, I was too young to really understand it, but like when I look back at it now, like that's basically saying at 30 years old, this is what life is supposed to be. You know what I'm trying to say? So now if you're growing up in that time in the 70s, 80s, like TV's telling you what to think. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
And now we have Instagram telling us what to
think. Very interesting. So I just want to talk about that. And the John Leguizamo thing, which you really should see. See it with your wife, because it's really funny. I'm trying to think if I have anything else in here. Carol vs. Kramer, 1979, we talked about that. Oh! So, question for you, speaking of media.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about what happened at the Bon Appetit?
The Bon Appetit.
Bon Appetit. Bon Appetit, the magazine.
Oh, okay, the magazine. No, what happened? I know about the magazine. I just don't know. I don't know.
Well, first of all, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I've recently been introduced to the Bon Appetit YouTube site. Found out was the guy who ran that section of Bon Appetit, the editor, showed up at a party in brownface with his girlfriend. They were both dressed
recently?
Up in brownface. No, a few years ago.
Okay.
2019, I think.
Okay.
They did that, and they had a cottage industry of making videos. There's a reason why I'm going to talk about this, but first of all, so they realized that the people that were Latino and black and whatever were marginalized on the show, and they all fucking quit.
Yeah, I did hear something about that. Yes,
that's not what I'm talking about. The thing I'm talking about I find interesting is there's one of the shows is that this guy goes to a restaurant and takes a bite out of everything on that menu, right? Tacos numero uno. Have you been to Tacos numero uno yet?
No, but I will after this.
Tacos numero uno is fantastic, and if we hang out, we're gonna go.
Tacos numero uno. Tacos and whoopie pies. What a day!
Ooh. Okay. Try everything on the menu. Bon Appetit website. Oh, that's not a YouTube channel. It's a YouTube channel. This guy's name is Who is this guy? What's his name? I don't know. White Claw, get out of here! White Claw, get out of here! Okay, Alex Delaney. So this guy goes and has all these tacos on the menu, but then he does it with barbecue and he does it with other stuff. It's a great show. Check it out if you can. I think he left. He left it. He left Bon Appetit with everybody else because fuck him. Being racist, don't be racist. But you should check it out. It's pretty interesting. And
the show
Tacos Numero Uno is delicious.
Is it in the city?
Yeah. They're downtown. They're by you. You're in. Where are you? 40.
Yeah, they're in Midtown area, like around there.
They're on 40. They're on 41st and Park Avenue.
Oh, okay. I think I have seen the place, but I don't think I've been down.
It's awesome.
Into
for $10, crazy lunch, crazy big ass luncheon. So check it out. All right,
$5.
$5. All right, I think that's it. You got anything else?
No, I think the song of the week has to be Yesterday, of course, because you brought in some old shows and try to equate them to new shows and John Lennon. So I guess Yesterday.
And t-shirts.
I don't know. And a t-shirt.
T-shirt, John Lennon. And stupid COVID idiots. Jesus Christ. Stupid Mario Cuomo. Stop kissing people. What's wrong with you? His mom was probably talking. His mom was like, what's wrong with you? His mom was like this big, right? She's like 5'5".
Yeah, she's tiny.
What's the matter? What's the matter with you?
Slapping up the head. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
At least that's what I'm at.
Mario, what's wrong? Why you kiss everyone?
You sound like the people from Grand Prospect Hall. Remember that commercial?
What?
The Grand Prospect Hall. Remember that commercial? You sounded like the guy there for a second.
The Grand Prospect Hall. We live down the block. You lived down the block for that forever.
Yeah.
That place is fantastic.
The guy who owned it died, unfortunately,
but it's eternal, I think. The great thing about the Grand Prospect Hall, you could have any kind of party there. They don't give a fuck.
No, I know. I've been in there a couple of times, like events, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's got like 80 rooms in there. It's got like 80 rooms.
It's a fucking mansion. When I get married again to my rich wife, we're gonna have our wedding
at the Grand Prospect
in Hawaii. I'm not going there. You crazy? My rich wife. I'm gonna get fucking married. It's nuts. Fuck you.
Yesterday.
I'm gonna have to pass. Oh, they're tacos though, right? Grand Prospect.
That's old school. People know what that is, and that they're a real New Yorker. If you know the Grand Prospect.
Remember the commercial? Take human bites. That's like one of my favorite fucking commercials when I was a kid. What's it called? 5th of July. 5th.
Take human bites.
July video commercial. There it is.
Grand Prospect.
Broadway show commercial. Holy. All right, we're gonna have to play this. I do not own Take Human Bites. I don't care. Yeah, whatever.
I just hear people screaming. Give it to Mikey. He'll eat anything. You really into the commercial. Just your face alone. Just
Langford Wilson's comedy. That's right. 5th of July. Wow.
This is called nostalgia, folks. Nostalgia.
Wow.
He's looking at it, reminiscing
of
his
Broadway theater.
Am I weird?
Human bites.
That's Danny
Aiello, what was his name? He died too, I think, unfortunately. Right? Danny Aiello.
It's Gemini. The show was called Gemini, not 5th of July. That's good to know. So I'm going to post that on YouTube because I stand corrected.
Take Human Bites.
Take Human Bites with Danny Aiello. I didn't even remember that guy.
Yeah, he died not so long ago too.
No, he was on doing Broadway.
Do the right thing was what I remember him the most. And
yeah, he said the word pizzeria. That's the first guy that I ever met in my life that said pizzeria. It's a beautiful pizzeria. It's a pizzeria. What are you talking about? Pizzeria.
Yesterday.
Song of the week! Yesterday by the Beatles. We do not own this song. Found it on your thingies. On your.
It was just one of the. It was a show reminiscing about a lot of things that happened yesterday. So of course, folks, that's why it's going on.
We did spend a lot of time in the past today.
We did. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I'm posting on YouTube right now. Boom.
Look at that. The multifaceted individual. You can post while doing a show at the same time. Not many people could do that.
All right, man. Hey. Always fun to have you on. Yesterday's song of the week.
Right.
Yesterday. I put such an easy gameplay. Now I can't pop my hands on my face.
I went to a local Dominican spot to get some food, and that song is like a bachata. You know that? That's why it was literally in Spanish. That's why it's so fresh in my mind, because I'm like, why does this song so familiar? And it was yesterday. It was like a bolero type of bachata type of thing, and I was like, and it was an old song from what the woman was telling me. So
hold on a second.
I'm gonna find it and then play.
No. Hold on. I gotta watch this fucking stuff. Come on, people. No triple nothing. Get out of here.
Bachata is like reggae, where like any hot song
is this it?
Converted. No, it was Spanish. It was Spanish words, but was using the yesterday like tone, the yesterday like, phrases, just like, but in Spanish basically. That's why I gotta get it for you. I'll get it for you, believe me.
No, I'm gonna find it right now. It's on bachata Spanish.
I don't know if it was a bachata. It could have been a bolero. It could have been one of those slow jams. That
yeah, well,
that's the thing.
Find it for me. I gotta hear it.
I definitely gotta find it.
I must hear it. I must improve my bust and hear it. That's another joke. We're full of jokes.
It's a joke, son. You missed it.
The jokes, you missed it.
Chicken hawk. It's a chicken hawk, son.
Chicken. You are a chicken, and I am a chicken hawk. Same guy did all the voices for those. I can't believe it. All right. Thank you very much for listening and watching us. Always a pleasure.
We do it for you, the people.
We do this for you the people.